Doom Vivamus Vivamus Epicureans. This is the BCE Comics Pod one-shot edition. I'm your host, Nick Smith, and I'm joined by...
Stojr from Stojr Shelf. How's it going, Nick?
I'm doing okay, wrestling with computer problems, as always, but we are participating in Kurtis Findlay's Epic Marvel Podcast Reading Club, and this one-shot is going to be our brief thoughts on today's issue, which is Kitty Pryde and Wolverine, number 2, Terror. Alright, so after Kitty learns of her father's dealing with criminal businessmen, which I guess are the Yakuza in Japan, she attempts to flee the skyscraper that they're in. However, Ogun, who is the man who brought Mr. Pryde to Tokyo, he chases after Kitty, defeats her, and somehow magically trains her to be a ninja too. Meanwhile, Wolverine shows up and finds some informants of his own to direct him to where Kitty is. All right, Stojr, what are your thoughts?
I think it's an interesting choice to kind of download and sort of brainwash Kitty and make her a ninja. It doesn't necessarily make any sense about how this is happening. I think one of the future issues tries to explain it, but they don't even necessarily connect the dots to this training sequence necessarily. But I think I know what the explanation would be. I don't want to spoil it, so we'll wait till we get to that issue. I think that what's happening to Kitty in this issue is like pretty dark, and I think it's something that would have some real impact on this series. It has some real impact on her character going forward, and some of the things that she's able to do, and really amps up her skill set. But I feel like some of the art and some of the storytelling choices kind of detract from that. Like Ogun doesn't feel scary to me. He almost feels like a goblin or something like that. Like this, I don't think of him as like overpowering. I think of him as more of like a trickster. Like he's able to, sort of make sure she's stuck and she can't move, and that's how he's doing all the things that he's doing. So I never really feel fear or I never really think of him as like a menacing villain, I guess is what I'm trying to say. He's more of like this sort of trickster that's sort of brainwashing her. And I feel like we get a lot of scenes here that are just like a means to an end, right? So this is the issue where she gets brainwashed. And now we gotta get to the next issue before we do anything with that. So it just feels like a lot of pulling the taffy. What do you think?
Yeah, this is fine. I'm curious as to, who exactly this Ogun guy is and how he's able to do this supposed brainwash on Kitty. And you and I know that this is going to get explained later, so I'm not going to go through the theories I had at this point. But, it's fine. Yeah, I don't have anything more to say for this one. I feel like the real meat happens later. It's just the big one here is Kitty... she becomes a psychic baby and becomes a ninja somehow?
She gets a haircut and she becomes a ninja.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
I guess maybe one thing that stood out to me is Ogun is wearing, and you see it on the cover, Ogun's wearing this demon mask, right? I don't know if that has any actual lore in Japan, if there's any origins there, or if that's something that's just happening here. But... It reminded me of what Dan Slott does in Spider-Man when he has Mr. Negative with the demons and their breathing of stuff. And so it kind of made me think, was Dan Slott referencing this story? Is he pulling from that? Or is that a Japanese thing that I'm just not familiar with? I don't know. Just a thought that popped in my head.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, because when I think of those villains that he has there, I guess they, like, some of the henchmen that wear those masks might have something like Demon's Breath. Like there was the initial storyline had this like Demon's Breath, but that was like a MacGuffin type thing. It had to do with like blood or something like that. So I'm trying to think, like, do they have like a trick up their sleeve, like the Goblin Pumpkin or that they use all the time that would be like the Demon's Breath? And they might, I just don't remember. But Mr. Negative himself can just kind of, hypnotize you, so to speak, or whatnot. He's not really using anything like that.
Yeah, Mr. Negative wasn't, but his henchmen seemed to be similar to this. But that's a story for way in the future, and who knows, maybe we'll get to that at some point. Anyway, just seemed like there were some parallels here. All right, Stojr, any other final thoughts?
No, look for the next issue because there wasn't a lot in this one.
Yep, agreed. All right, so if you guys enjoy our thoughts, follow us on YouTube. We're going to read, rate, and review a full, big collected edition comic once a month, plus these daily one-shots. You're getting off easy with a short one today, or maybe you're not getting your money's worth, which you didn't pay us, so you are getting your money's worth. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're not monetized yet, so,
Yeah. All right, we'll catch you guys next time.